Xenia, I think now it'll be a perfect moment actually for us to answer a burning question from one of our followers here on YouTube.
And a bay, like where the land curves and there's water that sort of enters in from the sea or the ocean. And bay tends to be more tranquil than the open water. We'd call the open water is when you're out on the sea and the water's more crazy, it's more wild.
Daniel says, hello. Ethan said more crazy and more wild. Wouldn't it be crazier and wilder? I know he's a native and he knows what he's speaking, but I'm curious to know.
That's an interesting question. You definitely be correct if you say crazier and wilder. Just for our viewers to remind this rule that if we have a shorter one-syllable word, it will take the ending ER or EST. So crazy, crazier, craziest, right? With longer words, like the word beautiful, for example, we will have the words more and most, more beautiful, most beautiful, right? Sometimes, especially with the aim to emphasize this comparison, it's perfectly fine to use more and most with one-syllable words. I will tell you more. There are exceptions to this rule where one-syllable words can only take more and most and don't take the endings. These words are right or wrong. You cannot say righter, wronger, right? You would say more right, more wrong. Let's imagine the situation where a person shares some story with you or tells something interesting or retells the event. You can tell that you are more right than wrong, right? Or you are more wrong than right if the story had some inaccuracies, right? So in this kind of context, you would use that. Other words like this is ill, right? Like when you're sick, ill. So you cannot say iller. You would say more ill. Let's say if I come to work ill, by the end of the day, I would feel even more ill, right?
Not iller.
Not iller. Not iller. Yeah, more ill. And funny, there is this word fun, which cannot take the ending EREST, right? It would be more fun. Learning English with movies and TV series is so much more fun than from the textbooks.
Global citizens, a quick interruption. Isn't it frustrating when you learn a new word or expression, but when it's time to actually use it in real life, in a real conversation, you totally forget the word? I know it can be quite frustrating. That's exactly why we created the RealLife English app, because we believe that the best way for you to solve this problem is by, as soon as you learn a new word or expression, to use it in real life conversations. But then there is the question, how do you find people to practice your speaking skills with? Well, you can find people like that, learners like you, on the RealLife English app. With the app, you can connect to anybody, anywhere in the world, to have a short 4 to 8 minute conversation in English to practice your speaking skills. Also, you can listen to our RealLife English podcast, and for the week's episode, you get access to a digital transcript and a few flashcards to help you memorize the words from the episode much faster. We have tons of users using the app. They are really happy about it, and I really encourage you to try it for yourself. The link to the app will be in the description of the video, also in the show notes. It's free to download and try, and I'm sure you will love it. So just to recap here, Xenia, there are exceptions to this rule. So there are words or adjectives which have just one syllable, and we still use more, like you described, right? More ill, more fun. But in this case here that Daniel asked about wild and crazy, so it's okay to say crazier and wilder, but if you want to be more emphatic, maybe like Ethan was trying to be here, you can say more crazy and more wild. So we could say that this is one of those liberties that very fluent speakers or native speakers take sometimes with the language, right? Sometimes we don't speak everything to the T correctly, but we take some liberties because, you know, we want to communicate a certain way.
Yeah. You just mentioned an interesting phrase referring to correctly. What's the other way?
To the T?
To the T? What's that?
Yeah, when you do something to the T, you do it very precisely, accurately, like by the textbook, for example.
Yeah. Following each step, right? Following the instruction.
You were talking about the words right and wrong. Yeah, we say more right, more wrong. That actually reminds me of Chandler from Friends, because he had this, in the series, he had this line, right? You couldn't be more wrong, something like that, right?
Exactly.
You couldn't be more wrong.
There was this joke. Yeah, they were joking around the intonation. Yeah, Chandler uses. You couldn't be more wrong, or something like that.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. We're going to keep the fun going. We're going to play another game called Mad Libs. If you enjoy watching this, you might want to try it with your English-speaking friends. And basically what they do is they take a story, they take out a bunch of words, and then they just give you what the part of speech is. So you have to basically choose a bunch of words without knowing what the story is going to be.